Hi, grade 3. Today we will talk about the angles. We will learn what is the difference between the angles and how I will decide if the angle is right angle or if it is more than the right angle or if it's less than the right angle. So let's start with our lesson. So before we start with our lesson, we should understand first what I mean by the angle. Now, in the previous lesson, we studied that if the line has in one end this end point and in the other side it has this arrow, we will call it ray. So if I have two rays and they connected in one point, I will call this point vertex. And these two rays with this vertex, they will give me what we call it angle. So here I have the first ray, here I have the second one, and the point that connect between these two rays, we will call it vertex. So they will give me what we call it angle. So this is what I mean by the angle. Now, why we need to learn about the angles? Because we have it all around us. For example, we have the angle in the road. We have it also in the window. Also, the clock hands, they can perform the angle. Also, if I have this pie of pizza and I cut it into four equal pieces, each piece corner, it will give me angle. So we have it all around us. So now we will learn how to know if my angle it's right angle or if it's less than the right angle or if it's more than the right angle. Now I will give you a hint to know if the angle it's either more or less or if it's right angle. Let's see here for example. Now, as you know, we said that the angle it's two rays connected together. So when the two rays connected together, they will perform or they will give me what we call it angle. Now, if the two rays when they connected together, they build between them square and the square it should come exactly between the two rays. In this case I can say that the angle it's right angle. So here let's see in our case if this angle we can call it right angle or not. Here I can build square between the two rays, but as you can see here there is extra space between the square and the second ray. So in this case, I cannot say that I have right angle. In this case, if there is space between the line of the square and the second line of the angle, here I can say that my angle it's more than the right angle. Now, let's see another example. Suppose that this is the first ray and this is the second ray. I will see if I can build square between or if there is square between the first ray and the second ray. Now, here this is my angle, and as you can see here, the space between the first ray and the second ray, it's not enough to build a square between them. This is why I can say here my angle, it's less than the right angle. Now, let's see the last situation. Here, for example, this is the black line or this is the black ray, it's the first ray. And this is the second ray. I will see if I can build a square between the two rays. Yes, here as you can see I can have square between the first ray and the second ray, and also as you can see there is no space between the square and the ray, so the square it come exactly between the two angles hand. This is why here I can say that the angle it's right angle. So again I will repeat. If the space between the first ray or the first hand of the angle and the second hand can let me draw a square, but there is extra space between the square and the second hand. In this case, I will say that my angle is more than the right angle. And here we say that if the space between the first hand of the angle and the second hand it's less than the square, so it cannot let me draw a square between them. Here I can say that my angle it's less than the right angle. While in the last example, as you can see, when the two hands of the angle they joined together in a point, they build between them what we call it square. In this case, I can say that the angle is right angle.